The Dodgers won the series in Pittsburgh, but one moment involving Shohei Ohtani instantly became bigger than the final score.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Harry Ruiz, that's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers. On today's show, Dave Roberts will miss Sunday's game in Chicago for a great reason. This weekend's White Sox series might be a lot tougher than people realize. But first, Shohei Ohtani left Thursday's game early, but the Dodgers may have a bigger picture in mind. And look, the Dodgers won the game 8-6. First series win in Pittsburgh since 2021. Shohei Ohtani, he homered early in the game. He reached base all 4 times. He came to the plate, and somehow none of that is the headline. Instead, everybody immediately started asking the same question. Why did Ohtani come out in the 7th inning with 1 out and runners on first and second? And Travis, this started people getting something in their head, and it came out left knee inflammation. That was the original report, and some people started getting very nervous about that situation, because when you lose Shohei Ohtani, you don't just lose the MVP that has been with the Dodgers a key piece to win back-to-back titles. You, in this season, lose a Cy Young contender as well. So let's just start off with that. The moment he came off the lineup sheet, when he got taken out for Santiago Espinal, what went through your mind when you heard left knee inflammation?
Nothing good, right? I mean, nothing good goes through your head when you hear something like that. Let's kind of take a step back and talk about a couple of things that are connected to this. The Dodgers have had more players miss games than any other team in baseball over the last 2 years by about 800 games. The next closest team is the Chicago White Sox, who we're going to talk about in a second. But think about what that means. The Dodger players collectively have missed 800 more games than the White Sox. The Dodgers have won the World Series 2 years in a row and are trying to make it 3. The White Sox, now give the White Sox some credit, they're much better this year, but the White Sox have been historically bad during during the same amount of run. So the Dodgers have been doing this with a lot of guys missing a lot of time. Now, part of that is that they're very deliberate, that they're very cautious about using guys when they're dealing with, little nagging injuries. They don't really push guys until they get into October. That's what they like to do late in the season. They don't do it in the middle part of the season. But that's just a setup to say the one guy who doesn't miss time is Ohtani. The Dodgers, generally speaking, miss, you think about it, even their really durable guys, even their guys that are not like chronically out like a Tyler Glasnow, he misses time all the time. Like, you don't really think about him as missing time. You just you're just kind of surprised when he is there. But think about Max Muncy, who's real durable. He's missed some time. Mookie Betts, who's generally speaking pretty durable, has missed some time. Even Freddie Freeman, who's like the 21st century version of an Iron Man, has missed a little bit of time relative to what he's typically been able to do. Now, there are obviously very specific circumstances to some of Freddie's absences, but still absences nonetheless. Ohtani doesn't miss. Ohtani plays like when we've been talking about it this year, just Ohtani getting a day off is like, hey, what's going on? Why isn't Ohtani in the lineup? Ohtani not getting the hit on the day he's pitching. Hey, what's going on with Ohtani? Ohtani getting a day off after the day he pitches. Hey, what's going on with this man plays every day. Of all of the crazy things that we've talked about with him, the home runs, the steals, the batting average, the ability to pitch, the ability to throw 101 miles an hour, the chasing of the side, like just right on down the line. He's going to win his 5th MVP this year, Harry. I mean, it's just crazy, crazy things that we talk about. He plays every day. Like, we never talk about the fact that Ohtani plays every day. So when he does come out of the lineup and you do hear about things like a bum or a sore knee or inflammation or whatever, yeah, it's really, really concerning. Now, hopefully it's minor. Hopefully they put some ice or some Advil on it and it goes away. I mean, you work in football, I work in football. These things can kind of pop up. They're probably trying to get him off his feet a little bit. But the one thing the Dodgers have not had to do, while everyone else has dropped out around him, Shohei Ohtani plays every single day. So this is kind of new territory for the Dodgers.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, the last time he actually hit the injured list was at the end of his tenure with the Angels over there in Anaheim in 2023. Since then, he hasn't been back on the injured list. Yes, he didn't pitch in 2024, but he was hitting, he was stealing bases 50-50. You all remember that? Then 2025, another crazy season. He comes back to the bump, and look at him do what he did, 50 home runs, 50 men struck out as a pitcher. Now 2026, he's a Cy Young candidate. He's an MVP candidate. It's just out of normal. So when we see him taken out of the game, especially in the situation where it was still kind of a close game against the Pirates that were surging back, it was very interesting, which, by the way, shout out Santiago Espinal. He came into the game. He came through with a single in that situation to drive a run. But then after the game, I always say, let's wait post-game. Dave Roberts, let's listen to what he said. And he said that Shohei Ohtani felt something behind his left knee and that Ohtani informed the training staff about it in the 6th inning, and the Dodgers decided not to take any chances. And that's one thing, Travis. If there's one thing that we've learned from this organization over the last 5 years, is that they're far more proactive with their stars than they used to be. They're not going to risk any player, especially of the status of Shohei Ohtani, for a game in June when their goal is to win in October. We've seen it with Blake Snell, with Tyler Glass now, with Mookie Betts. It's like, hey, man, we're not going to push you. Let's see what happens. But interestingly enough, Dave Roberts said that he's not ruling Shohei Ohtani out for Friday's game, despite it having travel to Chicago. I know, travel way shorter to Chicago from Pittsburgh to Chicago than LA to Chi-Town. But at the end of the day, every decision involving Ohtani carries a different level of importance, because we're talking about the MVP. We're talking about a guy that if you lose him, you don't just lose your top of the lineup DH. You now lose one of your aces in your rotation.
Yeah, I look, I hope we never have to find out, but there is like a morbid curiosity of what this team would look like for an extended period of time without him in the lineup. The knee is really interesting. You know, we first of all, the knee as a pitcher, incredibly important. Whether that's your drive leg or your land leg, it doesn't really matter. It's going to take a lot of abuse. And then Ohtani, the hitter, I mean, we talk about, he swings with such incredible force and violence that he has an incredible amount of torque on his lower body. That's where a ton of his power comes from, is being able to get that leverage off of his lower half. So that's a big part of it. And like you said, Harry, this is a guy that has not been on the injured list for a few years. And I'm trying to remember, I'd have to go back and double check this, but I believe the only time he has missed time in his career is for arm stuff, right? We've seen him miss, time with the Angels and the Dodgers, at least pitching time, because his elbow is not good, because he's had the 2 Tommy Johns, because this is the part of his body that is most susceptible to injury. This is new. If he said something too, that's interesting, because I've never gotten the sense that Ohtani's one of these guys that, oh, it's my elbow, it's my knee, it's my finger, it's my this, it's that. Like, he's a pretty tough guy. He just keeps kind of grinding through it along the way. So if he felt the need to speak up, I think that's significant. As far as Dave and I'm not calling Dave a dishonest man. What I'm saying is Dave is not terribly forthcoming when it comes to the extent of injuries. I think that if anybody that watches the Dodgers regularly, what they say in the immediate aftermath is not necessarily what it's going to be. It's almost always a little bit more than they initially let on. So we will see. Hopefully it is minor. Hopefully it is nothing. Hopefully we see his name in the lineup card against the White Sox today, but definitely something. Because, the other thing too, Harry, he's been hot as a pistol the last couple of weeks at the plate. Like, the man it's Shohei Ohtani again. Like, he hit that home run again last night. He had 2, or should have had 2 the day before. Only one got out. The other one got robbed. But he is the full Ohtani. OPS closing in on 1,000, batting average over 300. He's driving the ball out of the ballpark. Like, it's Ohtani all over again. And then a little, knee thing. If he starts to dip again, you got to wonder if one doesn't lead to the next.
So here's the deal, Travis, just to mention it. Shohei had that knee surgically repaired in September 2019, but it doesn't feel like he missed any time, because when you talk about mid-September, when somebody's with the Angels, that's the end of your season. You're not talking about October. You're not talking about a team that's missing a guy in the playoffs. So that's why it feels like Ohtani didn't miss any time with the Angels. Surgically repaired left knee in 2019. And something important too, this right here is his landing leg. And this came off of a day where he pitched 102 times in 6 2/3 innings. And he was on base 4 times on Thursday in Pittsburgh. He homered, he singled, he had 2 walks, he tried stealing bases, and that's the moment where Dave Roberts says that he suspects that might have been the time where Shohei Ohtani started feeling something when he was stealing bases, because it's something that he's not doing often anymore.
No, and nor should he. That's a part of his game that you can mothball and not really worry about it. You don't, you can only ask so much out of a guy. Look, if this is something that is, minor enough that it doesn't require any sort of intervention, but significant enough that maybe a little time off might let it calm down, the very last thing you want is to try to get him in some sort of compromised situation where he needs to miss a lot of time or he needs to be shut down for an extended period. If this would require a little 10-day trip to the DL, just let it simmer down, just let it kind of chill out. He's been doing a ton of work this season. Then go ahead and make a move like that. And I know they will. I know that they're going to be incredibly deliberate with this. And look, Ohtani obviously is their best player. Ohtani is the best player ever, but they will survive a short window of time without him. I don't know what they look like if you got to play a couple months without him. I don't know what it looks like if you've got to play a postseason series with him being something less than his best. That's not something I think anybody's interested in seeing. So if you need to be overly cautious early, be overly cautious in the middle of June so it doesn't become an issue in September and October.
No doubt about it. And just a quick note as well, Justin Robleski also left this game with a right hamstring contusion when he was hit with a comebacker. They immediately took him out, and it seemed like Robo wanted to stay in the game. He was like, it's good. And the coaching staff went in, nope, it's not good. You're out. The bullpen, they allowed a couple of runs, but at the end of the day, an 8-6 win for the Dodgers. Travis, the last time the Dodgers lost a series, it was against the Braves. May 8th through the 10th, when they lost 2 out of 3. Since then, they've split with the Giants, they split with the D-backs, but everything else has been series wins. So even though if you just look to the most recent 10 games and you're like, all right, they're barely over 500, their last month of play has been very good for this team, which right now is leading the division, which right now is only behind the Braves in the National League. And big part of that has been with Shohei Ohtani heating up, not warming up, heating up. Right now, he's the hottest hitter in baseball, so we want him to be back if he's healthy. And we also want to hear from you. What was your first reaction when you saw Shohei Ohtani leave the game early? And do you think the Dodgers are simply being cautious, or does this situation concern you at all? Let's remember, it was less than a week ago when we were hearing that Will Smith, oh no, it's okay, he'll be back tomorrow, and he ended up landing on the injured list. Drop your take in the comments or let us know on any of our social networks, or hit up the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 2793-LOCKED. We want to hear where you stand. Coming up on Locked On Dodgers, the Dodgers head to Chicago, where a White Sox team nobody expected to contend suddenly looks like one of baseball's best stories. And trust me, this isn't the same White Sox club people have laughed at the last few years. Sending money to someone instantly through Cash App has become so normal now that you almost forget how much it actually simplifies everyday life. Cash App does more than you think when it comes to having your back and making sure your money stays your money. Cash App just released a new status program for the way people actually spend, called Cash App Green. Now, when you spend at least $500 a month with the Cash App card, you earn green status, which unlocks benefits like up to $200 of free overdraft coverage. If you overdraft unexpectedly, there are no hidden fees. You also unlock higher borrow limits and custom personalized cashback offers every Friday at places you love to shop. Turn everyday spending into status with Cash App Green. Download Cash App today or visit cash.app to learn more about this and other financial benefits. Workplace chaos can show up fast. One day, everything's under control, and the next, you're missing a key piece of the team. The challenge is that finding the right candidate usually takes more time than most businesses can afford, and every delay adds pressure. That's where Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps. It puts your job in front of people who actually match what you're looking for, like skills, experience, and location, so you spend less time filtering and more time interviewing the right fit. Because one great hire can change everything. It can lift a team, improve momentum, and completely shift how a project or business performs. And listeners of this show get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Go to Indeed.com/podcast. Terms apply. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. You can get every episode of Locked On Dodgers ad-free through the Everydayer Club. There's a free 7-day trial waiting for you at lockedondodgers.supercast.com or through the link in the show notes. Don't look now, but the White Sox are actually good. If I told you before the season that Chicago would be leading their division in mid-June, you would be thinking about the Cubs, not about the White Sox. Right now, this team lost 101 games in 2023. 121 in 2024, then triple digits once again last season. Travis, 3 straight years of misery, and all of a sudden they're sitting at top of the AL Central in mid-June. They're one of the best stories in baseball, and the Dodgers get to face them this weekend on the road.
Yeah, look, I think this is a good representation of what you can do if you're patient and what you can do if you're smart. I think, look, the White Sox were historically bad very recently. The White Sox, like you just mentioned, Harry, were a 100-loss team multiple years in a row. Then they got better, and they got a little better over time. And then all of a sudden they signed some guys. They made some really smart decisions. Some guys that they signed hit right away. And all of a sudden they're in the mix. They're going to play meaningful baseball for the next few months. I don't know if they're going to win the division, but they're going to get a chance to play real games that matter for the next 60 or 90 days. That's an incredible win for them. That, I think, is really interesting when you look around the rest of baseball and look at some of these teams that are perennially awful. What up, Angels? What up, Rockies? Like these teams that never get it right. Like look at the Oakland A's, Sacramento A's, Vegas A's, whatever you want to call them. Look at them. Like they're terrible, but then they get decent, and then they get terrible again. And then they at least, and the reason that they get decent is that they're really smart, they draft well, they develop well, they find players that are undervalued, et cetera, et cetera. It's the teams that are always bad. It's the Angels of the world. It's the Rockies of the world. It's like, why can't you guys at least, nobody's expecting them to win the World Series, but maybe sniff 500, maybe get over 500, maybe play some games that matter in July and August and just give your fans something to be excited about. We're spoiled as Dodger fans because the floor is so high. The floor on these teams you're in a division fight, right? The floor is, do you have to play in the wild card round? Not are you going to lose 100 games? So I think that the White Sox are a very healthy representation of what baseball can be. The Pirates, I think, are finally starting to figure it out. You're starting to see them bring some guys up. They hit a home run with Skeens. This is what you're hopefully a young team will do, is start to get incrementally better. And the White Sox are the ultimate example of that.
No doubt about it. They actually are coming off of beating the Braves in back-to-back games. They got rained out yesterday, but they beat the Braves, who have the best record in the National League. And this is without Munetaka Murakami, who became one of the biggest stories in baseball, 20 home runs hit. He hasn't played in 2 weeks. He's sidelined with a hamstring injury, and the White Sox are still getting results. So this is something big. Travis, do you know who's second on the White Sox in home runs?
Hit me.
Miguel Vargas.
Oh,
He
yeah.
actually has
That. You're right. Yeah.
He has more home runs than any player on the Dodgers. He has 16 home runs right now. And this shows you once again, this was a guy that was a part of a 3-team trade when the Dodgers landed Tommy Edman and Kopech back in 2024 in July. And it was a huge story. It's like he went from being a baseball's best team to being a baseball's worst team. And you would always see memes of him being miserable. And look at him now. He's thriving in a new situation. And that goes to show you, like you said, if you have patience, if you want to build a team, you can do it. And you don't have to spend all the money in the world. Even Murakami, now that people have seen the results, do you think nobody would want to throw $40 million at him to get him instead of going to Chicago? He signed a 2 years, $34 million contract, 17 mil per year. It's just the type of situation where you got all your cards, the deck in the right position, and you're hitting blackjack after blackjack, and you're in a situation nobody expected anybody to see you in.
Yeah, no, they caught lightning in a bottle with Murakami. That was just a great signing, and hopefully they get something out of it, because while it's a good deal for the White Sox as far as the dollars, maybe not a great deal for the White Sox as far as the term, because he's going to get to renegotiate pretty quickly or leave. So that's a little bump in the road for them that's coming up sooner than they probably may have anticipated. To go back to Vargas for a second, I think, look, I hope that all the Dodger players that the Dodgers want to keep come up to LA and thrive here. But the fact of the matter is, this goes to something you and I have talked about a lot. There's just not a lot of opportunities at the big league level in LA. Now, Vargas, I think, is a great example of that. They gave him a chance to win that second base job. He struggled. A lot of young players do struggle when they first come up, but the Dodgers aren't really waiting around for you to figure it out a lot of the time. They're going to move on to the next guy. That's just the way that they go about it. But a Michael Busch going to Chicago, Miguel Vargas going to the other Chicago, and just getting a chance to play in an environment that's a little less intense, there's a little less on the line as far as what you're going to do every single day. You're a little less worried about getting taken out of the lineup or getting sent back down to the minor leagues. These are opportunities that are going to be available to other Dodger minor leaguers. I don't know if it's going to be Dalton Rushing. I don't know if it's going to be Ryan Ward or Tibbs or any of these guys that we talk about a lot, but there's just not a lot of room at the big league level. And when you do get your shot, you have to perform or they're going to move on. It's a really tough environment. And Vargas, by the way, when he went to Chicago, didn't hit right away. It took a little bit of time for him to kind of figure it out. And I guess I would imagine the culture shock of going from the best team and the best organization to one that's at the bottom would get anybody's head spinning. But he figured it out, and he's done a really good job.
I mean, never did I ever think that it was going to be a divisional leader versus a divisional leader in mid-June between Dodgers and White Sox. And look, Chicago, this team is confident right now. They're winning. And the Dodgers, they're going to be able to send two of their three best pitchers at the moment when it comes to Japanese aces. They got Roki Sasaki, who's coming off of 4 very good starts. Then they got Yoshinobu Yamamoto on Saturday and Emmett Sheehan on Sunday. So even though the White Sox, their pitching isn't their best weapon, you can always look at them as a team with the hot bats, with guys that you didn't expect to show up. They even had a rookie show up this past week, and he hit a walk-off hit. And it's like, okay, man, they're just doing things right, and everything is happening at the right moment for them. So this series should be a lot of fun. It's a first place team versus first place team. One is expected, one is surprising. Both are playing good baseball. And Travis, it's baseball, man. You never know what's going to happen.
Never, ever, ever do you have any idea what's going to happen in any given game. You know, over the course of a season, I think we got a really good idea of what's going to happen. But over the course of a game, none. And look, I want the Dodgers to win all of these games, clearly. But I'm kind of rooting for the White Sox in a way that I like it when bad teams figure it out. I like it when teams that are struggling to never mind compete, but just to win a game. They lost 120 games. I mean, that is unbelievable. 120 losses is mind-blowing. And that a relatively short period of time later, they're competitive. Good for them. I root for smart people doing smart things.
And the White Sox beating the Braves twice now have the Dodgers just one win behind the Braves. So that also helps out. So let's see what happens. So how dangerous do you think this White Sox team really is? And were you expecting them to be leading their division at this point in the season? Drop your answer in the comments or hit me on social at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, or on TikTok at Harry Ruiz_. Travis, he's available on X and Instagram at Travis Rodgers. Next on Locked On Dodgers, Dave Roberts won't be managing Sunday's game in Chicago, and we'll talk about why that's actually a pretty cool story.
Baseball season is here, and right now you can trade every game on KALSHI. Yeah, you heard me right. Your ears are working. On KALSHI, you can trade every single game. For instance, let's take a look at some stuff that's going on right now. Let's talk a little Yankees. Let's talk a little Blue Jays. The Yankees are trading at 51% to beat the Blue Jays, which means a $100 trade pays out $179 if the Yankees can find a way to win that game. Because on KALSHI, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there is no house. And as the probabilities change, you can buy in and out of your position. And for a limited time, download the KALSHI app and you can use the code LOCKEDON to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, KALSHI. Trade on anything. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risks and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. ED is way more common than most guys think, and millions of men deal with it at some point. HIMS offers a simple, convenient way to take care of your health by connecting you with licensed healthcare providers online and giving you access to personalized treatment options from the comfort of your home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process designed to make getting care easier. Taking care of yourself should not feel complicated, and HIMS makes this process private and easy to navigate. It's healthcare built around your schedule and your comfort, right? When something is already uncomfortable to talk about, the last thing you want is a complicated process to make it even more obnoxious, right? Having the ability to start online from home makes taking that first step feel much more manageable, right? To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonmlb. That's hims.com/lockedonmlb for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonmlb. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Sildenafil is the generic version of Viagra. Viagra is a registered trademark of Viatris Specialty LLC. HIMS is not affiliated with or endorsed by Viatris.
Are you new here? Welcome. Everydayers, you already know you're the heartbeat of our show. It's easy and free to help us out. Subscribe and like our content on YouTube. Drop a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify and hit up the Locked On Dodgers listener line, 2793-LOCKED. That's 279-356-2533. Dave Roberts will miss Sunday's game for a great reason. Baseball can consume everything. The schedule is relentless. The travel is nonstop. The season at times feels endless. That's why it's always refreshing when moments like this happens. Dave Roberts will miss Sunday's game against the White Sox because he'll be attending his daughter's graduation from Stanford. And honestly, that's exactly what he should be. Managers spend so much time away from their families during a season that opportunities like this matter, where being a dad is way more important than being a manager. So look, the Dodgers will be fine just by not having him for a game, and this milestone won't happen twice. So Travis, it's an easy decision in my book.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure for a couple of different reasons. Number one, Stanford. My goodness, that's incredibly impressive to get a degree from a place like that. That's great. Look, I've put my family, my children through college as well, and let me just tell you, getting them off of that tuition payroll is a reason to celebrate like nothing else. I understand Dave Roberts' economic situation is probably a little different than most people's, but it's still not nothing. And that seeing that money go out every month or every semester or every quarter or whatever it is nothing. So I'm sure he's incredibly proud. I'm sure he's thrilled to get to see her enter the next phase of her life. And it is a very, very special moment. Congratulations to the Roberts family for an amazing achievement. And like you said, Harry, the trains will continue to run without Dave Roberts there for a day. Dave's incredibly important to what the Dodgers do, but I think it's a testament to any good manager. And I'm not talking about a baseball manager. I'm talking about a manager of people, a manager of organizations, that they can step away for a period of time and things continue to work really well because they've put really effective systems in place. And I think if there's one thing everybody can agree on that's a Dodger fan, is that the systems the Dodgers have put in place are really, really good, and they will hold up with a brief absence from Dave Roberts.
And Dave Roberts, in an interview with David Vassay on the Dodgers flagship radio station, AM 570, he said that he encourages his coaches at times as well, if they have a big milestone in their family, to take some time off, to be able to join their sons, their daughters, their wives, whoever is involved in something like that, their parents, to take some time off. And it's something where, Travis, 162 games over a 6-month span, where I have the calendar right here for the Dodgers in June. They have a grand total of 3 days off in the month of June. That's 3 days out of 30 days. A normal 9 to 5 job usually gives you Saturday and Sunday off per every week, right? Or 2 days off a week. A baseball player, a baseball manager, it's 3 days off. And out of those days, one of them was a road travel day for the Dodgers. You're on a plane. It's not a regular day off. They woke up at home and then they headed over to LAX to fly.
Yeah, no, those off days are often work days in the sea. You might not play a game, but you're working. You're getting from point A to point B on an airplane, and that's work, in my opinion. One of the craziest stats I've ever heard about the Major League Baseball schedule, and it's always kind of stuck with me, is that once the season starts until the season ends, those guys get 19 days off. They get 19 days off over the course of 6 months. That's bananas. Like you said, Harry, I know that a lot of people work hard. A lot of people work 2 jobs. A lot of people work 6 or 7 days a week. But this is one of these things where when you're using your body, your physicality, the way an athlete is, the way a baseball player is, and there's so little downtime, I think this is what separates baseball from so many of these other sports. It's not just hitting the ball, throwing the ball. It's being able to post every single day. Football is crazy because of the violence. You only play once a week and you only play 17 times. Basketball is incredibly difficult, but there's half as many games in a basketball season as there are in a baseball season. Hockey is bananas in its own right, but baseball players, it's not that you're getting smashed into each other. It's not that you're running full speed up and down a basketball court every night, but it is playing every single day for 6 months, and that's a challenge.
And Dave Roberts, he missed a game last year due to suspension against the Padres. Danny Lehman, he stepped up and he managed that game for the boys in blue. And this important, Lehman actually had interest from the Braves to become their manager, but he remains with the Dodgers organization where he has been since 2015. He's been in video scouting, game planning, communications, player prep, and he's been working up into becoming one of the most important positions on the coaching staff for the Dodgers. And he's more than likely going to be the guy making the decisions as the manager for the Dodgers on Sunday, with Dave Roberts not being there, because Dave Roberts ain't going to be on his phone texting, hey, put this guy in, do this, do that. You're either there or you're not. So somebody has to step up. And in this case, it seems like it's going to be Danny Lehman. And Travis, the Dodgers coaching staff, it's very interesting where you start seeing guys being taken from other organizations because of the way that the Dodgers have been managed. Even former players, Skip Schumacher, also being a manager. It's like this team has worked in such a good way. How many pitching coaches have the Dodgers had over the last 15 years? It's been Rick Honeycutt and now Mark Prior. It's a well-worked machine, a well-oiled machine that the Dodgers have there with Dave Roberts and everybody below him.
Yeah, well, Skip Schumacher was trained at the finest academic institution on the West Coast, UC Santa Barbara, my alma mater. So Skip has a lot of good training along the way. It's a little bit like the other team that I talk a lot about. I do Locked On Rams as well. Maybe people know that, maybe they don't. But Sean McVay's got to replace 2 of his coaches every single season because they all get head coaching jobs around the rest of the league. So the Dodgers don't have quite turnover like that. But when you got a system that works like the Dodgers system does, people are always going to be looking at your guys. They're always going to want to maybe steal one of those guys, get a little bit of a look under the hood, maybe capture some of that Dodger magic that they've had, and hopefully bring it to the new ballpark. And this is just the residue of a successful organization that people are going to want to hire your employees.
No doubt about it. Go enjoy your day. Dave Roberts, celebrate your daughter. Some moments in life are bigger than baseball, and this is definitely one of them. So let me throw this one to you. If you were in Dave Roberts' position, would you have made the same decision to miss a game for a family milestone? And how much confidence do you have in Danny Lehman running the Dodgers for a day? Let us know in the YouTube comments or reach out via social media. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Sorry, Travis, go ahead.
One quick thing. I want to give you a little love. Viva Mexico, El Tri, 1-0 in the World Cup after their win against South Africa yesterday. So congratulations to your squad. And I know you got one eye on that as well.
Yes. My daughter and I, we were watching the Mexico-South Africa game, or well, she did the first half, then she fell asleep. It wasn't a very good game, but they won. Dude, did you see the attendance at the Coliseum for that watch party? nuts.
Just crazy. Yeah. Well, no real surprise. I mean, it's incredibly impressive, but the amount of Mexican fans, Mexican American fans in well, sure, right? I mean, in El Tri they're going to turn out. It was fun to watch. I'm excited to see USA to play tonight against Paraguay.
There's only one city in the world that has more Mexicans than Los Angeles, and it's Mexico City. So it was an awesome sight. I'm not much into soccer, but to see Mexico play a World Cup game in Mexico City, I wasn't going to miss that. It was fun. And then immediately after, Dodgers Pirates. I love those type of days where I'm able to sit in the couch and feed my baby while watching my favorite teams. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thanks for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. We'll be back on Monday. Yes, Dodgers, White Sox, we'll recap that, but most importantly, Travis, we want to see what happens with Shohei Ohtani and this saga about if he plays, how much he plays, what's going on. Hopefully it's not something severe, and we get to see him play as much as possible.
Yep, fingers crossed. Hopefully he's okay, and if he's not, shut him down and get him right as quickly as possible.
If you're with us every day, check out the Everydayer Club. You'll get Locked On Dodgers completely ad-free, access to our members-only Discord, and more perks along the way. Join the party at LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com. If you're watching on YouTube, stick around and check out the 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network channel. And if you're listening on audio, make Locked On MLB your second listen of the day. Or if you're watching or listening, also go check out Travis on Locked On Rams. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.